Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host. And today I have an amazing rock star on the show. Her name is Lauren Walker. If you don't know her and you don't follow her, you're going to know her and follow her after today because this lady is unbelievable. She's in Idaho. She's very heavily involved in Idaho politics and trying to help fix our country. So, if you would do me a favor, share this out to everybody you know, share it far and wide, and let's get a bunch of people on here to hear Lauren Walker's story about how where she started and where she is today. So, stay with us. We'll be right back. And we're back. Let me go ahead and bring the incredible Lauren onto the show. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me. How you doing?
It's so great to have you here. We've talked I know I've talked to you about doing this in the past, and just recently we're like, let's do it. And so I want to start with, not everybody knows that that's not a Christmas tree behind you.
It's an Idaho tree. In Idaho, we have what we call Idaho trees and
Okay.
little ones, and then we decorate them for each season. So right now, I've got little like 4th of July gnomes on them.
That's so awesome. So we have some people on here. There's Becca. There is Drax, some people that you and I both know.
Hi, Dra.
There is, oh, here's my one of my favorites. There's Shell. Hey, Shell.
Michelle.
So thank you all for reposting the stream, and if you'll continue doing that and putting it in groups, that would be fantabulous. So Lauren, why don't you start with kind of giving everybody a brief overview of where it all began for you? Where were you born and raised, and yeah, start there.
So first, I want to say hi to my mom, and I want to say hi to my friends and my followers in my state and in the nation. And I also particularly want to say hi to my haters.
Yeah.
But I, Lauren Walker, so this is going to blow the lid off of everything. People in Idaho give Californians a really bad rep. I was born in Ventura, California. Oh no. so
I know a lot of great people from California, Lauren.
yeah, I'm not I wouldn't say like I'm from I used to tell people like I was raised Vegas and San Diego back and forth, but to be honest, I'm from everywhere, mostly because of my upbringing and my background and my work. So, I mean, I've kind of lived everywhere. It's not really
Yeah.
like people try to peg me though, this Californian and she moved to the state to whatever. I'm like, no, it's not really I'm not really a Californian. I'm a nomad. So
Did you say you lived in Vegas?
I lived in Vegas for a long time. Those are
Okay.
just the places I've lived in the longest. So my background is my family's all border patrol, very
Okay.
high up in the border. So my grandpa was like OG cowboy. Like he was like the number 3 tracker in the world. They still teach his methods at the Border Patrol Academy. Um, Big fish in the Border Patrol. And then my uncle, he was in the Border Patrol and he went up, like, rose the political ladder. He was next in line to be the chief of the entire Border Patrol.
Wow.
Actually, when Trump was running, he came to my uncle. My uncle was contracting, so he couldn't do it. But the Trump camp came to my uncle and asked if he would do a commercial for them.
Wow.
But he couldn't do it because he was contracting with a different company. But my stepdad's Border Patrol. He retired. He was ICE, Border Patrol. So we've lived everywhere. I went to like 3 different schools in the 4th grade. I went to 4 high schools in 4 different states. I'm a nomad.
Wow. Wow. You lived in Vegas though?
Yeah, I lived in Vegas for a while.
How
I lived with my
yeah.
grandparents because we had a house out. They had a house out in Boulder City with the lake
Okay.
in the background. It was real pretty.
That's so beautiful out there.
It
Oh
was
my
great.
gosh.
And
I lived in Vegas for 13 months.
where did you live?
Southern Highlands area.
Highlands, yeah.
Yeah.
We were in Henderson for a long time
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I went to UNLV
Beautiful.
for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
So this is your childhood. You were moving around as a child, but so you ended up um enlisting into the military.
I
I
did.
I was I s- I guess I could say you were drafted, but you weren't. I don't think there was a
I was
draft.
enlisted.
So
I know I was enlisted. I went to UNLV for a year. I might have done too much partying. It is Nevada, Las Vegas, and
yeah,
I decided I was actually doing good. I had good grades. I never failed. I was just bored, and so I was like, I think I'm going to go into the military. And my biological dad is Army. And so I
yeah.
called him and he said, You will only go in the Air Force. He said, You will not go in the Army. I said,
Wow.
Okay. So I joined the Air. We moved around. Let's see. I joined the Air Force. I had lived in Vegas with my grandparents because my stepdad, I told you, was border patrol. He was getting orders. We didn't know where, but
Yeah.
eventually they went to Tampa. And so I drove to Tampa and enlisted out of Tampa into the,
Wow. Into the Air Force.
yep.
My nephew flew F-16s for 20 years.
That's pretty rad. I know
Yeah.
plenty of those pilot types. We got a lot of them through our program.
Yeah.
I
They're
was airborne reconnaissance. So
Oh, were you? Yeah.
yeah,
I always say those F-16 pilots are extremely confident.
very confident, very
They
confident.
are. Oh my gosh. They're good. They're great. Listen, they're some of the most skilled, intelligent people in the world, quite frankly,
Yeah,
to
for
to
sure.
to get to that level. But yeah. Now he flies for Delta. I'm like, which one was more exciting, dude?
Oh, well, for sure the F-16s are more exciting, but
Yeah.
Delta's probably better pay.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So
I would imagine. So talk about you. So you joined the Air Force. Did you know what you were going to do in the Air Force when you joined? Did you know what you wanted to do?
so it's kind of a funny story. I was on the delayed enlistment program, the DEP program. They had me pick like 4 or 5 jobs, and none of my jobs would drop. So they like every month they release the job availability, and it cycles through the different recruiting stations, and none of
Okay.
my jobs were dropping. And I'll never forget this. I was working at Land of Dragons in Busch Gardens. So I was working at in like the little kid park. So I was like playing with little kids all day. It was super
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And
In
while
Tampa.
in Tampa, while
Yeah.
I was waiting to enlist, like while I was waiting for my job to drop, and I get a call from my recruiter one day, and he's like, "Hey, we have this like 1 Alpha 3 airborne comm thing." He goes, "I've actually never." He said, "I had one guy who was going to do it, and then he bailed at MEPS, so he didn't do it. But I don't really know about a lot about it. You have like 5 minutes to look it up and tell me if you want it or not." And so I pulled open the like, they write the job descriptions totally, it's
Yeah.
like engineer writing, right? It's not what you're doing, but like,
Right. Right.
so I read through it and I thought, okay, this is interesting. And then it was like survival school, parachute school. I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm in. Like,
What?
how do I get into this? And then my mom's like, what are you doing? Survival school, parachute school, POW camp. I'm like, I'm going. I'm like, I'm going to be in
Oh,
the air. I hadn't put in for any air crew job. So I was like, this is going to be super rad.
oh
so,
my God.
so
That's
I
crazy.
got in.
You're like, I can't think of anything better that I would like to do than jump out of an airplane and
So I thought,
geez.
oh, and and honestly, the training really wasn't that like intensive. It was, I mean, we were actually, it was in Fairchild. So up here, I live in North Idaho. So like Spokane, just kind of down the street, actually, is where we did survival school and we did POW camp. It was SEER school. And then they did like a small, water survival training portion. They like put us in a pool and like emulated a storm and like you were in like like a helicopter casing, and they dunked it in the pool, and you had to like get out and swim and make it to the surface and get on the raft. It was pretty fun. It was pretty neat.
Meanwhile, there's people like choking out over there. You're like, this is fun. Stop being a wuss.
I love it. I love well,
I
so
love
when I
that.
started survival school, the day we were it was the day before, they had some like barbed wire out there, razor barbed wire, and they were like, "Does anyone want to try to get in and out of the barbed wire?" And I'm short. I'm only like 5'4". And
Wow.
so I'm like, "Yes, I do." So I climbed into the barbed wire,
Oh my
and then I'm
God.
like, "I can't get out of the barbed wire." So I had to jump, and when I jumped, I hit a rock and I like rolled my ankle. And so
Oh
the next portion we were going to the field. So we had to like make tents and hike and snare traps and all the things, right? And I did the entire thing on a sprained ankle.
oh my gosh.
Brandy, that's my girl right there. Liberty Bell 208. Everyone go follow her.
Hey, Brandy. Buckster says you're the same size as Shell, which is
I know I'm
which
short.
is I think it's true. So I have a 15-year-old daughter that's she's small for her age for sure, and she's always complaining about being short. I'm like, you're not short. You're petite.
I don't
Petite.
mind it. Like girls
Yeah.
are supposed to kind of be short, right? Whatever.
Right.
It
Right.
doesn't bother me.
Right. So you go through all this training. How long was that? Six weeks?
So
How long?
trip. So you do when I went through basic was 6 weeks at the time. I think it's up to like 8 or 9 now, but it was 6 weeks
Okay.
at the time. And then from there, where did I go next? No, I went back to, I was still at, why can I not think of the name of the base in San Antonio? The San Antonio base.
The Air Force Base.
The Air Force Base. Instead, I can't think of the name. So we had to stay there extra, and they basically put you through a training to make sure you're not like a retard. Like they're like, can these are airplanes. Like, what does these
Oh
airplanes
my
do? Like, you know
God.
what I mean? And you'd be surprised. People washed out of that, and
What?
yeah, you'd be surprised. So
Wow.
went through that one, and then from there I went to Fairchild. So I did SEER school, and then we got put in Keesler. So Keesler was supposed. It's a fun
What's
story too.
Keesler?
Keesler is in Biloxi, Mississippi. It's the air base down
Oh,
there. The hurricane hunters are actually out of there,
okay. It's
and
nice, cool weather there.
muggy, but yes,
I'm just kidding. It's not
muggy.
cool. Yeah.
uh, so yeah, so we were at Keesler, and my training was only supposed to be for my like specific duty. So I was airborne comm, and it was only supposed to be like 6 or 8 weeks, but we had a security clearance snafu for like 20 of us, and I got stuck there for a year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we
Wow.
needed TSSCI, um, and then they gave what was it? We needed TSSCI, so they were running it. And then they gave us like interim clearance, something about like they canceled each other. And so like paperwork just was sitting on someone's desk. And
Good
there's like
Lord.
20 of us. We were stuck there for a year.
Oh my gosh.
So I
S-
did
s-
that. Huh?
What I was gonna say, what year? What approximately? What year was that?
That would have been in late 2004 to 2005.
Okay, okay.
And
Um,
so
who
go
was
ahead.
president? Was that 0405?
Bush. I think,
Was it
well, no,
Bush?
hold on. We had
Was
Bush
that when
and
Obama
Obama.
Obama
Obama's
came
elected,
in?
right? 2008 and
Yeah.
2012.
Somehow he got elected twice.
Yes. So he was elected what, 8 and 12, and then Trump was 16, 5
Yeah,
and
yeah,
20. Right.
yeah,
So it was
yeah, yeah,
Bush. I was under
yeah.
Bush.
Okay.
Boy, was
So
that a mistake. I didn't
I
at the
know.
time. I thought he was the moon and stars, and
I know, my
jokes
gosh,
on
the things we
me.
learn, things we learn. And by the way, there's a lot of great people watching and that have already shared this out. I saw Leo is on here. Leo
Hi,
is the
Leo.
I love Leo. He's such a good dude. Founder of the Rhino Removal Project, which we'll get into here in a
I owe
second.
him some videos. Don't be mad at me, Leo. I'll get there.
But I spent, I think, about an hour on a meeting with Leo the other day. He's such a good dude.
He's
Um,
great.
so so um you finally get out of your security clearance snafu,
Well,
and
I had to do a new job. So then I became airborne mission systems. So I had to go through a
what is
whole
that?
other training. So I was
Oh
a 1
my
Alpha
god.
30, and then I became a 1 Alpha 5. So I had 2 AFSCs. And
What are these things what's that even mean? I wasn't in the military. Thank you for your service, but
oh,
I
uh,
I I was going into the army with my best friend. We were going to go in on the buddy system, and he went and
oh,
I bailed.
oh no.
I know. He still won't talk to me to this day. But
Oh, no.
so you had to go back through all new training. How long was that?
Another 8 weeks. So they had like the
Jeez.
courses for your AFSC. So all the other stuff is standard, like air crew stuff. You had to do it. So I was 1 Alpha 3, which was airborne comms. So think like radios on planes. And then
Okay.
I became airborne mission systems, and that's much more like centralized, like computers or radar, or you know what I mean? Like you're
Okay.
learning a specific
Yeah.
piece of electronics. And so finally got out of there as a 1 Alpha 5, made it to Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma City, did 5 years on the AWACS as an airborne radar technician.
Wow.
So
Wow.
AWACS is a dinosaur. So basically, like in the Air Force, when you go through air crew, it's pretty, they put, again, they have to like retard proof you. So
Yeah.
like your first base that you go to is like for the majority of graduates is like a retard plane. Like they put you, like, you either, for us it was either you go to J Stars in Georgia or you go to AWACS and Tinker, and like
Right.
basically you're in a tube with 30 people flying, and they need to make sure that you're not like setting things on fire or whatever,
Right. Right.
like
Right.
they just like,
Jeez.
it's like a competency test. And
Yeah.
so what happens is, and like, I mean, okay, I did the radar stuff, but it was, I don't know, whatever. It was dinosaur, it was old, it was boring. So once you hit about E4, E5, you have a couple options. And in our career field, it was like you can go special ops or like gunships or something, or you could go VIP, go to Andrews in DC. And about the time I was hitting that milestone, a new program came online. No one had ever heard. It was brand new. The Joint Chief of Staffs was like, do this thing. It was called Project Liberty. They're like, we want it. We want it now. Nobody really knew what it was. Uh, they presented it to us. A lot of people stayed, like get stuck at Tinker because they end up getting married and they're like screwed. They're like stuck there with their wives and stuff. So a
Right.
lot of people stay in Oklahoma City. But when you start ascending in the rank, like you go, okay, do I want to go this way or that way if I'm not stuck in Oklahoma City? So
Right.
I jumped on this program. I'm like, it's something new. I remember the day that they introduced it to the auditorium, and I said, how many people fit in that plane? They said 4. I said, how long does it fly? They said 5 hours. I said, can it air refuel? And they said, no. I said, where do I sign?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
So
it was
so
fun.
what was that? What'd you end up doing with that?
So it was super cool. I helped jumpstart the entire program. I helped create it from the ground up. I ran the office out at Tinker where we recruited people. It was an MC-12. So we were in a King Air 350 turboprop, and it was the coolest job ever. Like it was airborne sensor operator. So you have your pilot and your co-pilot. The back end is a person who does things, and then us in the middle. And we had like, it's cameras, it's maps, it's radios. Like we were running missions. So you tell the pilot, drive the bus, we go to this location and stake out a target, or they're going to action the target, and you're overwatching and you are talking to the guys on the ground, and you are, through the camera. It was super fun. We did some really intense and cool missions, and no mission was ever the same. So it was like the funnest job ever, but you have to have
What
like,
wait, one second. Was this overseas then?
yeah, I did it in Iraq twice.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I did
So
13
I'm
months in Iraq.
assuming you weren't looking for targets in the US, although we
No,
probably should be.
no, we weren't. Well, and that's posse comitatus. Actually, our training, like in the United States, was very like restricted. Like we couldn't do. You can't have camera eyes off base. Like we had to chase cars around base, and I became an
Wow.
instructor, so I was doing it with students and stuff. I was the first chick instructor. Not that that means anything, but
It does actually. That's pretty
no,
cool.
we're all equal. I was just
That's
I was as good as those boys.
that's so awesome. So okay, so you went overseas then. Talk about the very first time you were deployed overseas. Um, you said 04, 05 ish,
So the
somewhere in there.
Nope. So in '04 and '05, I was like going through training. And then I spent 5 years at AWACS. And then the first time I went to Iraq was 2009, late
Okay,
2009.
okay. Um, well, that was well after the wasn't that well that was wasn't that after that was after the conflict in Iraq, right? The war?
Yeah, the war kind of popped off in like pretty heavily in like '02, '03. I heard
Yeah,
it was like really hot and heavy there in '02 and '03. And I got
yeah,
there a couple years late, but I still got to do some really cool missions.
yeah. Wow. So you did that in Iraq, you said the first time, and how long were you over there?
I did two 6.5 month tours. So '09 and then again in 11. And then I became an instructor at the schoolhouse. We finally got our permanent station at Beale, just outside of Sacramento.
Okay,
And so
okay,
we all were there with like the U2s and there's some Predators. So they put the MC-12s there. But while we were deployed, we realized there are people who do what we do, but they were not in uniform and they worked for companies and thought, that's interesting, right? Like, how much
wow.
do you make?
Hey, yeah, right.
so, so I taught at the schoolhouse until my enlistment was up. I did 10 years. I was 14 days shy of 10 years. I'll be specific, I guess. And got out in 2013. Yeah, 2000,
Okay.
late December. It was like December 29th, 2013. I got out. And
And you
immediately,
were here in the States when you got out.
yeah, because I was outside of Sacramento. We were at
Okay,
Beale.
okay,
Got out and then was immediately hired on a program down in Curacao, so next to Aruba.
oh,
So went down there we were on Dash 8s, a little bit bigger plane, turboprop.
that doesn't sound like it sucked.
It didn't. I did it for a year. It didn't
Okay.
suck, but like
Yeah,
again, kind of like Vegas, like going to UNLV. I was just like, I gotta get out of here.
yeah,
It's like it's too
yeah,
much, right? It was like
yeah.
because it's a Dutch island and the Dutch people like to party. So
Yeah,
so we did that, but I did some really cool missions there too. I mean, we would go to Colombia and we would go to Dominican Republic, and like we got
wow.
to go around the Caribbean and like chase drug boats and stuff. It was fun.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's insane. That's intense.
It was fun.
So when you're talk about that when you're because Buckster just said a minute ago, he said you are affectionately known as steel rainmakers. What when you talk about chasing drug boats and stuff, I mean, are you just running? I'm trying to get a clear picture in my head. Excuse my ignorance, but when are you like shooting them or are
No,
you
we're reconnaissance. I've never been on an armed aircraft,
Oh,
so
okay, okay.
it's like we have a maritime radar. So we're like looking for, with the radar, we
Got it.
find it, we hone in on it, and then I use the camera to document it. And like the feed goes to somebody like sitting in Florida or whatever, and they say, "Oh, okay, go after do this or that," or they give us
And
directions like, we need you to like chase this guy up the coastline, or we need you to, you know what I mean? Or
yeah,
like
yeah.
sometimes we go out on PA, like over like on Loudhorn and be like, you're in whatever waters, blah, blah, blah. So we
Right.
just stuff like that. It was fun.
Wow. That sounds intense. Now, do you were you guys responsible for um calling in the armed aircraft if necessary or
We worked with the Coast Guard on the
okay.
water. We worked with the Coast Guard. So they would always
Okay.
like send cutters out and we would, We would just chase
Yeah.
them. I had a really fun one. Oh, where were we? Was it Puerto Rico, I think? And like the guy went into the cove, and like we had been chasing these two drug boats, and I had eyes on one. The Coast Guard was supposed to be like chasing the other one, but lost it. Anyway, like we
Wow.
were flying it, and then they brought in, like, we were able to call the Puerto Rican like government and be like, you got a drug boat, like they're coming in hot. And these dudes, that guy that came into the cove, they brought Puerto Rican government brought like a big boat and like cut him off. And then
Wow.
like he ditched his, and like bales of cocaine are like falling out of it. So he like ditches his boat in somebody's like bougie dockyard and
Oh
takes
my.
off running. And I was like able to capture, even with the helicopters going around, we were able to like swing around, and I was able to capture like the entire thing. They're like chasing him down the street.
Oh
It was
my
fun.
God.
It was pretty cool.
Wow. That was pretty cool. That is
Yes,
really cool, actually.
it was
Wow.
fun.
So there's a lot of adrenaline involved in that, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's like alpha personality. It takes like
Yeah.
clarity on the radios, multitasking, like you're doing a sensor, you're doing maps, you're doing radar, you're doing, all of the things. Uh, oh, in Iraq.
He
What did
said,
I
what about?
Well, we were doing some crazy stuff in Iraq too. I've been
Yeah.
on some missions. So,
Yeah.
in Iraq, we would sparkle. We had a laser illuminator on the plane. So what happens is it's called sparkling. Guys on the ground throw their nogs on, and it looks like a spotlight coming out of the sky. And but to the naked eye, you can't see it. So when we would have like squirters, we call them squirters, they like run from houses and targets. I did a lot of squirter control in Iraq, like throw the spotlight on it. The guys on the ground tell them, sparkle on, nogs on, and they run up and they grab the dude. He's like in a tree, and he's like, "How did you find me?" Stuff like
Oh, wow.
that. Stuff like that.
And there's not actually a spotlight, though. This is all radar technology or something.
It was the illuminator. It's a laser illuminator.
Laser. Okay. Wow.
So that was Iraq. And then I did the boats, and then I did drones for a year, and I hated it, but we were in San Luis Obispo. So going from aircrew to drone is a downgrade. Most of the drone sensor operators are trying to get into aircrew. And
Uh,
so but my grandma at the time had lived in Atascadero, and I wanted to go hang out with her. And the job was in San Luis Obispo, which is probably the biggest, like, beautiful secret in California. Like, it's
yeah.
stunning, and the food is great. I mean, it's wine country. Like, you can throw a rock and hit a winery.
Wow.
And so I was a subcontractor for Lockheed Martin, and I tried to do drones for a year, but really I got to spend my last year with my grandma, and she passed while I lived there. So I
Oh
got to
my
do a year with
gosh.
her, which was great. I mean, there was no other,
Yeah.
it was like kind of a
Yeah.
godsend thing. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was destined to do that just for that year. And then I'm like, all right, I hate it. I'm out. I don't want to do drones anymore. So then I got picked up by Leidos to go to Afghanistan. So I got put
Well,
on a program. Huh?
I have a question about the drones because I have my nephew I told you flew F-16s for I think it was 20 years ish somewhere in there, in the Air Force and then Ohio Air Guard, um, but then his sister married another guy that's a pilot in the Air Force, and he flew I think the C-130s for one of the big planes, and then he became a drone pilot. And I've heard, without them divulging top secret information, but around the family gatherings, he did some pretty cool shit with those
Was he out
drones.
of Creech? Was he out of Vegas or
He
Indian
was,
Springs?
I want to say, I think it was Arizona. I thought maybe
Could
somewhere,
be.
maybe I don't know, but it was. I know that they operated underground. I do know that,
Hmm.
and he's flying drones in Iraq and Afghanistan and like some crazy stuff that they do with those. What was your function? So you weren't a drone pilot. You were doing what were
Sensor
you doing?
operator. I did get qualified actually in the sim to fly it as a pilot, which is weird, but okay. Like I don't even have an instrumentation rating. That probably shouldn't happen, but thank you, Lockheed Martin.
Yeah,
And then
that's pretty cool.
yeah, so I was a sensor operator. I did the camera. We had like a little ball on it, and I would do camera stuff. But it was a
Okay.
like an R&D program. They were basically like building it up. They were trying to get it to SOF, just to Special Forces guys over at Fort Bragg, and like
Wow.
no one would pick up on it. And I mean, it was fine, but there were too many glitches, and I was
Yeah.
just bored with it, and I was losing my skill set because we weren't flying every day. Like it was still being developed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was
Got it.
just like, I don't want to do this. I want to be like in the action. Um,
You're an adrenaline junkie. Just let's just put it out on the table. You love that rush.
I do. It's fun. Well, it's fun because it's not the same. Like every day is different. That's what I love
Right.
about like doing the missions is like
Right.
nothing is the same. And you have to think on your feet and you got to be quick and you got to make the right decision because people could die. So it's kind of important, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I was good at it. And then like
Yeah.
they would give us more and more responsibilities. Like at one point I was air warden, so I was stacking all of the planes. Like planes would show up, they'd check in me, and I'd be like, "You go here and look there and do that. And you go here." And you know what I mean? I'm just like
Wow.
giving all these different planes assignments and, making sure everybody's on the right, frequency and then like
And
helping the
this is
guys.
in California
No,
that
that was
you're.
that was all in Iraq. I did air
Oh,
warden.
okay, okay. Got it. Got it.
It was fun.
So at you said now you said something interesting. You said 3 months or 2 months before 10 years,
Oh,
you
14 days. I got
14
out at 10.
days
Yep.
is when you left the Air Force, the military.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, because once you go over 10, you're kinda, like, locked in, right? Because 20 is retirement.
Right.
So, you so you either do 10, you don't you know what I mean? You do under 10 or you do 20. And so, I was 14 days shy of 10 years, and I was like, "These people are doing it for a ton of money." I don't have to wear a uniform, I can get paid good money, I can come back and forth, like, I was like, "I'm outta here."
Wow.
So I
So
bailed.
and that's when you did the thing in the Caribbean with that
So I went to
company.
the Caribbean, and then I
Okay.
did drones, and
Okay.
then, I joined a company called Leidos, and I
Okay.
started deploying to Afghanistan. So I was going there for 6 years. I did 11 rotations.
What's that
So,
mean?
like, we would do 90 days there, and then we would come home and do 90 days, like,
Okay.
90 days off, but,
Okay.
and that was
Wow.
about the time I moved to Idaho. So my sister had gone to college up at Whitworth, and my parents had come here from Vegas and fell in love
Okay.
with the area. So they bought a house. And so when I left California, because I was on the drone, you know what I mean? I like again, guys, this is all military contract stuff. I'm not like Californian, but it was a drone program in San Luis Obispo. So I moved over to Idaho, packed all my stuff, moved it here, and then just started going on rotations to Afghanistan.
Good Lord.
It was
And
fun.
how long did you do that?
It was about 5.5, 6 years.
And you were doing the same thing? You're, like, running the radar laser
The
stuff?
mission changed on the in the Afghanistan a little bit. We had it was cameras, but we
Okay.
were doing change detect. So we were looking for it was a passive mission. We were looking for bombs in the road. So like every day we would take pictures of the roads that were mostly traveled by Afghan nationals or coalition forces or whatever. And then the next day we would take them again, and you'd be able to spot if there was
A
bombs in the road, right?
disturbance.
Like the dumbbells or the starburst, you could see it, and there's like a software program where it like flickers back and forth, and you can, you know what I mean, from the day before. So we
Wow.
were doing change detect, looking for
So
bombs.
so you literally were saving lives
Yeah,
with
it turned
that.
into, and it was good. It turned into a passive mission. So like Obama was president at the time, and like he really like hamstrung our guys over there. So like if
Mm.
you were digging in a road, if you were digging a bomb in a road, and as long as you dropped the shovel and walked away, coalition forces couldn't apprehend you under Obama.
What?
Yeah. So like you could be an Afghani or a Taliban and you could be putting a bomb in a road. And as long as when coalition forces saw you, you dropped the shovel and walked away, you weren't like ROEs, they weren't allowed to engage. So we had a lot of like,
Wow.
I know we have a lot of, disabled and limbs blown off military folk because of Obama's policies.
Oh my God.
So yes, it
Wow.
was pretty crazy.
Wow.
And then I got to be there. I got to see the coolest stuff ever, right? So then I was there under Trump. So imagine this, like I was in Iraq under Bush. No, I went to Iraq in 2009. So Obama had just been elected. So I enlisted under Bush. Obama gets elected. I get out under Obama. I go to Afghanistan under Obama. And then I saw the switch. Like I got to see Trump come in and just like, do you guys remember the Moab? Like, do you remember when he did the video? They put out like this video of the Moab, and it was like he blew the mountain like a bunker buster mountain thing. Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Vaguely.
So we saw the video on SipperNet come through. So we saw like the unedited version of it before they gave it for public consumption. But I was flying in that AOR, like the area of responsibility. I was flying in the area of responsibility within the 24-hour period. And I went and I got eyes on that thing, man. It was cindering like 48 hours later. Like
Oh
the
my
mountain was
God.
cindering. Like I got to go look at it. I'm like, this is pretty cool.
Wow. You took pictures or you had the cameras that you were able to see. I see. Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It was pretty
That's
neat.
pretty
Well, because
cool.
we had the classified version, so we had all the grids. So I like wrote the grid down when I saw the video. When I got on the plane, I knew we were flying those routes, so I plugged the grid in, and I'm like, look at it, still on fire. It was pretty neat.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So talk about when you how long did you do that again? 6 years you said?
About 5.5 to 6 years, yeah.
Okay. Where did things go from there for you?
So okay, so Trump gets in. And by the way, you guys don't know this, but I was there during the Kandahar closure. So Kandahar was the base in the south. Trump did it without incident. You never heard about it because Trump did it correctly. So one of the biggest bases in Afghanistan, and he closed it. So I was there for that. And then I got stuck there in COVID. So COVID happened. I got stuck there in COVID. And
Mm,
then, or Biden. So now Biden's in, right? So Biden gets elected. I'm there during Biden.
that's
This is
questionable, by the way, but
That's
go ahead.
questionable. Well, we're into like 2021, right? So it's
Yeah,
like
right.
January, February 2021. And he has just been, they just, inauguration just happens. It's
Yeah.
Biden.
Yeah.
And I get downrange and I just been stuck in Afghanistan for 7 months because they couldn't figure out how to get us in and out with the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's April 1st, 2021. I'm in Afghanistan and they tell me you have to take the COVID shot. And I like laughed in their faces and I said, like, that's not gonna happen. So, and they were like, well, you won't be able to come back. I'm like, oh, to this shithole? Sorry. Like, I
You're
don't
like,
care.
bummer.
Like money and bad locations, like even out, but you throw my health in the mix and the goose is cooked. Like, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm
I'll
out.
just go home and figure my life out.
Right.
And so 20 people in our program, 17 of them took the vaccine. Me and two
Oh,
other pilots are the only ones who said no.
wow.
Um, April 14th, I'll never forget it, it's my mom's birthday. April 14th, they come out and they're like, close the program down. You're all getting out. You're all leaving Bagram. And I was like, you morons took a shot for no reason.
Oh my God.
So I was like, this is
Wow.
crazy. So April 27th was my last day in Afghanistan. And I
Wow.
came home and I'd been traveling. So the job was cool because I do 90 days and then I would go see the world. Like I just
Right.
would just
Right.
go wherever I wanted. I've seen all over. I'm very, very
Yeah.
blessed to have done that. Like in my 30s, it was, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so very cool job, afforded me a lot of opportunities. And then I came home. And so at the time, one of my pilots from the Air Force, so Project Liberty, the one I went to
Yeah.
Iraq with, she was a legislator here in Idaho. She was a representative, but
Okay.
she knocked on my door like a week later and was like, I'm running for lieutenant governor. Help me do this up north, like be my campaign person up north. And I was like, in politics, like I like politics, but I had never done politics or like been interested or like infused myself into the state politics.
Right.
Oh, and just from there, I mean, I've just all I've done since then is politics in the state. And it's a lot of fun.
Wow.
It's a lot of
Since
fun.
21, 22,
Mhm.
21, 20.
So
Okay.
2021, I started helping her with the campaign. The
Okay.
election was in 22. She did not win. Am I doing my dates right? I feel like I am. Yeah. So she didn't win lieutenant governor. The other guy did.
Okay.
But I in the process, I became friends with all of the legislators like that move in conservative circles.
Yeah.
So got real familiar with everybody. Got invited in 2023. I got invited to session to go like be an assistant. So I had a rep and a senator who I was like helping. You know what I mean? Like I would go down. So I was at the Capitol every day, and wow, fire hose, civics lesson. Just
Which is in Boise, right?
was in Boise. Yeah. So I went
Okay.
down to Boise, and a friend let me stay with her, and I just every day politics all day long.
Oh
It's
my
intense.
God. Wow.
Yeah.
So talk about um excuse me. Talk about that. I mean, Idaho, h- how about just politics in general? Then you can get into some of the state level stuff, but um what's that like? What's that shift from all these years of military and I mean, even the company you were working for was a military contractor, right?
Yeah.
So, like all of these years in military, and then you get into politics. What was that shift like for you, and what did you find out? What was your big aha moment with getting into politics?
So I listened to you talk to Steve yesterday, and it was kind of interesting that he had sort of the same take. But for me, it wasn't difficult, but it was a new mission. So I'm mission driven, right? Like, got to do the next mission, got to do the next thing. So when I got down to the Capitol, I was like, there is so many holes. Like, we have so many problems that need to be fixed here. Like, there's no communication, cross chambers. Like, there's, they're not centralized, the communicating. There's no aides. Like, they don't have really any assistance. I think when I was down there, it was like they gave one aide per every three representatives, I think. No, I have that wrong. One aide for every three senators, and they had one aide for like 50, I don't know, like 30 representatives. Like they had no help, nothing. So like, and it's as like
Wow.
time went on, I was like, it's apparent that it was on purpose. Like they want them to miss things that they stick in bills. They don't want them to read all of them. They don't, you know what I mean? It was kind of malicious. And to this day, they still don't have, they're soliciting volunteers like what I was to come
Yeah.
help them. Like, because I mean, just this last session, we had like 800 something bills. How you can't read that? How are you going to read all those bills? That's crazy.
Wow.
So they would slide stuff in, and so here the dynamic in Idaho is really interesting. So before I went down in 23, so I would have been 21, 22. We had what we call Liberty legislators, you call them Liberty, conservatives. We had like
Yeah.
13 of them. And then because of COVID, that increased. So I get down in 2023, huge crop of new freshmen. There's 36 Liberty legislators. Now, for example, in the state of Idaho, we have 105 legislators. We have 35 Senate, 70 reps, 105 total, and 85% of them are Republicans. So it's considered supermajority. We are supermajority Republican. But the
Right.
problem is they're not really Republicans. so what you have 15% Democrats, and then I think the scale, once we scaled it out, it was like 60% of the people. So this was 23. 60% of the legislators were actually leaning more Democrat. So you got to figure the 15% Democrats, and then plus, what is it, 40, math in public,
No.
45,
Yeah.
45.
Yeah.
So 45 Republicans were voting like Democrats. And
So
so we,
they're rhinos.
yes, so we weren't a Republican majority, but like, so
Wow.
we had 36 Liberty legislators out of 105. Well, fast forward to last cycle, so this last session,
Now,
we
hold it.
gained,
How do you determine that? Is it based on their voting record or
yeah, that goes
yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
The voting records, I mean, there are different organizations, and I don't put much weight in them, but they do scoring around the state. Some of them are more libertarian, probably
Yeah.
shouldn't
Yeah.
be like like once you start splitting hairs,
Yeah.
it's like you're like, oh well, this is a libertarian organization, so should they really be scoring conservative? I don't know.
Right.
So you just kind of, you just know, like you just know who the conservatives are and the way they vote and the bills that they present, and and not all of them get through. Not all the bills get through, but I mean, we did pretty good in 23 and 24, holding off like bad bills because we had 36 now out of 105, right? So like we did pretty good at like just basically stopping bad bills. And we had the Freedom Caucus, Idaho Freedom Caucus, right? So I mean, you kind of, I don't, the
T-
shift was interesting, but in 2024 election, it went up another 8 people. So what, we're at 44 now. We had 44 conservatives, plus Trump had just won the election and he took our state by over 70%. So what we saw was the moderates in the state house realizing, numbers on the wall, right? Like
yeah.
Trump, so I got to pull right. It's the majority's gaining. So in all actuality, like this last session was the first session I've ever seen where we had a complete conservative majority. And I say that
Wow.
because it was pulling moderates right. And they were doing way more, they felt more comfortable being conservative. I think that like our state had been moderate controlled for so long. Like our governor is a total moderate, like he's awful.
So,
So
but you said something a few minutes ago about you had 800 and some odd bills last year.
this last session, so January through March.
Okay. What in 3 months?
Yep.
Okay. Jeez. I want to talk about this for a minute because these bills are. Let's talk about these bills. Let's. I suspect that the majority of the average American, number one, they don't know that there were 800 bills in a 3 month period. That's
Yep.
insane, and they have to vote on all of those bills
Not
while they're.
necessarily. Some of them
Oh,
die, some of them
okay,
just die on
okay,
the vine, but most of, like, man, we signed a ton into law this year. So this year was amazing. Basically, we called the cleanup year. It was the most conservative session we've ever seen. We were able to get anything and everything we want through. But it became a cleanup. We call it the cleanup session because
but
it was
these bills are introduced by the legislators, right?
all.
And those legislators, are they actually the ones Kay Daly, who I do her show with her, was in politics forever in DC, and she talks a lot about the people that work with the legislators, that they're not actually the legislator but they work with the legislator. um what kind of power or control do those people um, have that are, I don't know, I don't want to say necessarily
And in our
lobbyists,
state,
but
it's lobbyists. Yep,
yeah,
lobbyists. Like they are able to, because it's so task saturating for a
yeah,
legislator. Like when a lobbyist comes in, and historically what's been happening is when a lobbyist comes in and schleps something on your desk and pitches you the Cliff Notes version, and you go, yeah, cool, whatever. And you sign up to sponsor it. Right. And
wow.
so like these lobbyists have been able, because there is no help in Idaho. I know other states have like they each get assistance. But
Yeah.
because we don't have an assistant per person, like the state doesn't pay for that. I
Wow.
mean, man, the state barely pays them anything. They just went from like the 3 months we do it every year. They just went from 20 grand a year to 25 grand a year. Like that's all they get
Wow.
paid. These people are like, I know I have friends that are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars because they're ignoring their businesses to go to session for 3 months. Like,
Wow.
so it's not easy to be a legislator. So first
Right.
of all, you're making nothing.
Right.
Then you turn around and you give them no help. The state doesn't give them any help. So
Jeez.
so us citizens, grassroots are like, oh, I mean, they've had bill reader teams in the past, but all these lobbyists come in and they're like, hey, we want this or we want that, and they try to shove stuff through these guys. And if it's like a conservative org, or they're more inclined to like listen to it or do it. But we're just finding, like, it's been very frustrating because we're finding out, I mean, I'm finding out that like everything is about fundraising. So I'm seeing like lobbyists in the state like put insane bills that would never pass ever in front of these legislators just to watch them fail so that
Look
they can
who's with
fundraise off of it.
look who's with us.
Hi, Queenie. What's up?
Love Queenie. Wow. And Kilburn says you are a very good speaker.
Thank you,
So
Kilburn.
so I want to just okay. So let's say that talk about what a lobbyist is for the people that don't understand what that means. Um, I do, but go you explain what a lobbyist is and how they're quite often pieces of crap.
So a lobbyist is a representative of a special interest. So down in like the state house in Idaho, we had lobbyists for like agriculture, big ag. They're always in the ear trying to get their illegals through. They really just want their illegals. That we've been fighting them for that for the last couple of years. We've got like the firefighters. They've got their own lobbyists. We've got like some Second Amendment orgs. They haven't done anything in a couple of years, so I don't really know that they're relevant. But um, just a bunch of stuff. So like, I mean, kind of everything you can imagine, right? Like everything has a lobbyist, and these people sometimes it's the same lobbyist does like 10 different things. Like this one lady is like big tobacco, and she's also big pharma, and she's also like, so they have like a hallway. They sit in this room in the hallway. It's called the vault because it used to be a bank, and they sit in there and they watch the votes, they watch the TVs, but like they're trying to get their agenda through for, big tobacco or whatever. Like they're like, they had vape bills that were sponsored by big tobacco. They were trying to kill like independent vaping
Yeah.
in the state. And like nobody knew. I had to like come in, like the guy got a hold of me and I had to go talk to the people on health and welfare. I mean, like we had to undo it. Like it was a mess. So like
But
these lobbyists
okay, so I'm getting to a point. I'm actually leading you down a road. I don't know if you even realize what I'm doing. The point I'm getting to is these bills that legislators on a state level, a local level, state level, and federal level, these bills are most of the time brought to the legislators by a lobbyist
yes.
person or group,
Yes.
and it almost always ties into money for
Yes.
the special interest group.
And they pay those lobbyists a lot. Like I just pulled a lobbyist um organization the other day, and a guy in our state makes $140,000 as the he's not an actual lobbyist, but the organization is lobbying. He's like management or whatever. 140 grand a year as like random Boise, Idaho person, and his boss is doing $300,000. The
Wow.
CEO of this
Lobbyists.
organization, and I'm
Yeah.
just like they're DC based. I think like there's a couple, we have DC lobbyists here. I mean, and they're always, man, it's a mess. It's pretty crazy. So I mean, I'm always like, I've just gotten to the point where I hate lobbyists. And we do have one really good guy, Dan McKnight, and he does Defend the Guard, and God bless him. Like every year he's trying to get Defend the Guard through. And as a military veteran and war fighter, like that is the best. If you don't know what Defend the Guard is, like go to, I think it's defendtheguard.org. You got to go look it up. It's that Congress cannot legally deploy the National Guard unless they declare war. Like Congress has to declare war, which hasn't been declared since World War II, by the way.
Wow.
So war has not been declared. All of these are being done on AUMFs, right? Like all continuing resolutions. That's what pays for OIF, OEF, Korea, Vietnam. None of these have had declarations of war. So the Defend the Guard, I
Wow.
really believe in it. Like I'm really behind it. Like Defend the Guard is the governors of the states cannot deploy their guard members overseas unless war is declared by Congress. So
Right.
it would force Congress to act, and it would restrict those guys, because you guys don't know, but when the wars kicked off, a huge majority of it was guard. Like they just sent the guard over to Iraq and Afghanistan. So
Wow. Yeah. That's just absolutely insane.
but that's a good
So
lobbying group. That's one. I can name one.
wow. And there's, the thing is there are thousands.
Thousands.
I mean, they're on. It's just like if I had, I don't know, if I had a special interest in in maybe land that I owned locally, and I
Mhm.
went to the mayor of the city, and who I actually am friends with, but I said, "Hey, we got to make sure this tax break gets passed."
Yep.
And and here's the thing that bothers me more than anything. Even though I believe it's illegal, there's backroom deals being made
Oh,
with a
100%. I mean, I've
lot of these.
seen them. I've
Right,
seen it happen like
right. Like
100%.
Nancy Pelosi. We won't mention names like Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer or anybody like that. Um, but it happens, I believe, on both sides a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah,
100%. Mhm.
yeah.
And it's happening in your state houses, like, so I know we're gonna end up getting to the rhino removal stuff. So
We
I
are.
am surveillance coordinator for rhino removal. But if anybody who knows me on here has followed me and Brandy, the girl I told you to follow earlier, from like January to March during session, her and I, all we do all day long is put out content on like this bill got presented. This is a bad bill. This one's, we're trying to keep the state in the loop. Like I want the people of Idaho in the loop. So like people don't know, but like my handle, the only reason I'm here, and by the way, I am not a lobbyist. No matter what lobbyists tell you, the lobbyist definition is I am not one. You have to be registered. I am not a registered lobbyist. I don't have any special interest. My special interest is the people of Idaho. So when I go down there and help, or when I, work with legislators, or when I'm helping with legislation, or when I'm clipping videos and showing you guys, like a lot of my stuff went national because we had a lot of like Representative Redmond up here. He put out the no candy and soda and snap before it was even national. Like he was the first one and he got it through. Well, we had some speed bumps. We had some
Yeah.
silly legislators trying to like stall it, but we got it through. And like within a week of him presenting it, RFK Jr. came out and was like, "We want to do this, candy soda out of
Yeah.
snap." And so, like, I saw a lot of our bills lead the way nationally, and I was able to
Yeah.
like have that content out in I wanted people in the state to see. Like, all I care about is that people in this state see what's going on. And I mean, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I'm a little mouthy. I'm a little brash. You see me in this interview. I cuss. I'm a veteran, but like you don't have to follow me. You can follow Brian Allman, also Gem State Chronicle guy. He writes the best and he live tweets. So like Brandy and I are doing clips and showing people like this got presented, this got killed, this is some bonehead thing somebody said. We're showing people all session long, and then Allman is in there like live tweeting. Like the guy's brilliant. So you can see that stuff, and that's for Idaho. So like that's the only reason I even have an X handle is cast my net wider, get as many Idahoans as I can. And God bless the Texas one for helping me grow. I mean, when he found me, I was probably only like 4,000 people.
Yeah.
So grew as much as I could just to cast the net wider, get more Idahoans, get more eyes on. This is what you need to know is happening in the capital. I don't have any special interests. I'm trying to put everything out there I can. There's only 2 people working on the clips, and it's like 8 hours a day. We're working like clipping 8 hours a day every day during
Wow.
session. So, uh,
Wow.
and this is what this is what I'm trying to teach other states to do. So I joined with Rhino Removal Project. We started the surveillance
Yeah.
um,
What
division.
talk about that? This is that does that involve aircraft?
No, it doesn't. I just came up with the name. I'm like, well, I did surveillance in the military and I do surveillance of the legislature.
Right.
So, so most people, again, like your state, first of all, your state is required by law to have some sort of public viewing on, like ours is IPTV, right? Public television.
Mm,
Your legislative website, right? It's going
yeah.
to have videos of, like they legally have to, of all of your committee hearings and all your floor hearings in your capital. So there's a whole little ecosystem going on in each state that most people don't even know is happening. And yeah, you'll get a headline here or there. Oh, like Texas wants to pass this or the Muslim thing or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
but you don't see, like nobody's really pulsed in and they're doing all this stuff and the public is not really aware of it. So what
Wow.
I've been doing is with Rhino Removal Project is I have been going through legislative websites, figuring out how to get what, like a clip. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I go to Grok, I'd be like, what's a cool bill or what's the craziest bill that went through Tennessee legislature last year? And then I would go like do a whole video, like a tutorial on, okay,
Yeah.
I'm looking for this bill. This is how I found it. Here's how I get to the video. This is where you would clip, right? Like this is,
Right.
you were to do this. So I'm trying to train other people in their states to do exactly what I'm doing in Idaho because nobody knows what's going on in their damn capital. Like lobbyists are running it, like we've got to do something.
And that's such a true and profound statement that I don't think, again, I don't think that people realize. I mean, I said it before. I've said this many times that you're the average, and when I say average, I'd say 80 to 90% probably of voters in the United States just go vote down ballot. And they're like, I'm voting for everybody that's got an R next to their name or a D next to their name or whatever, right? Like
Mhm.
I think people just aren't aware that it's special interest groups that are running our world, not just this country, but you know. So what do you think? And I'll put what is I don't have your at handle
Oh, it's
memorized, Lorena.
Roglue 18, ROGUE 18.
ROU
No, Rogue,
R
ROGUELOU 18.
LOU 18. So I'm gonna put that up so people can see it. Because somebody just asked about it. So there it is, right?
Yep, that looks good.
Okay. So so what can people do to what can people do? I mean, the average citizen, what can they do? Like
So
this is a mess. It's a mess.
it was a mess, and I had to grow into it. Like I told Leo when I talked to him about this when we first started, I said, like I had to grow my own handle. Like I had to come in and be like, this is what I do. It's really important every state does it. But like I told you, I had to cast my net wider, and like the Texas one helped like mentor me into whatever I'm at now, 30 something thousand. I just was hanging out with him in Boise. It was so much fun. Him and Beard Vet and Jay Hans and Native Patriot. Like I got to, those guys are rad. Um, so he helped grow me so that I could get my net bigger so I can collect more Idahoans so that they can see. And again, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I cuss and I'm kind of rude sometimes to people and I don't really take shit from anybody. So like that's my handle. I'm spicy. It is what it is. But during session and like throughout the year, even like the inside we have the information that we get. And like, I'm constantly like, just yesterday, we put out a post that we had a law go through that says that schools can't hang pride flags, right? They're illegal now. And we've got like pushback from school boards, and we got this letter and we're like, hey, Debbie Critchfield, who is our Rhino superintendent, hey, Debbie Critchfield, are you going to enforce the law, or like, what are you doing here? Right. So those are the kinds of things that we do it all year long. I mean, anytime we get information, we're constantly, trying to give it to you. There's no special interest here other than I just need to make the state better. I want eyes on certain, I'm trying to drive eyes to certain things so that people pay attention. But it's hard to do this. So like, I had to grow into it, right? I kind of got thrown into the circles, right? So I just knew everybody. And then I had to grow my handle to get like the information out. But for a normal person, it's hard to do. So that's why I went rhino removal project. If you wanted to do like the clipping for session, like what I was talking about, I'm doing tutorials on a whole bunch of different states. And yes, Leo, I know I owe you some videos, but uh as it guy, now I have an assignment, man. But as it's going, like all you have to do is like learn how to clip and do it yourself. And you become interested. You don't have to know legislators or anything, because Rhino Removal Project is sort of like an umbrella organization. The first person to come up with a clip for their state for that content is going to go out with, Beard Vet or Gunther or Mike Engelman, or like they're going to get
Yeah,
retweeted by them. So like
right.
they skipped what I had to go through, which is growing. Like they have a direct access line to huge influencers. So that's why it's important. And that's why I keep doing it. Like just
Yeah.
watch the tutorial videos, man. Just like tell me what your state is, and I'll make you one, because everybody needs to know, because we can't have lobbyists and special interests running our state houses anymore. I'm done with it. I'm over it. I've been attacked by lobbyists nonstop. Like
Well, sure.
I'm
You're
done. Like, dude, I want
yeah.
them all to go away and people shouldn't be listening to them.
So, you know, that's man, that is a such a big fight. I mean, it's such a you're talking trillions of dollars on a national, well, a global, but national. I mean, people don't realize that there are, whether they're legal or not, there are out of this country special interest groups that
Yep.
are not in the US that
Oh, I know what you're done. I know where you're going with this.
I mean, but people don't realize that. And then, I understand I get the division. I totally do. I get the division. I understand why the left is is there's an old saying, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. So when you try to convince somebody but if you show people the facts, like, listen, I understand that you've been a Democrat your entire life, your parents were, your grandparent my grandfather was in World War II, did two he was in the army, he did two tours in World War II, and he died a Democrat. But he was a you know a JFK Democrat. He would not
Yeah,
be a
it's a different kind.
Democrat
Yeah,
today.
that's a
Yeah,
totally
it
different
would be
classical.
way different. And
Totally.
but I think about, like, if you can present facts to anybody regardless of their party affiliation, like, look, you've got to understand that your Democratic senator or congressperson, whether it's on a state level or federal level, they're not making decisions in the best interest of you. They're making
100.
them in the best interest of whoever's giving them the most money to from a lobbyist group.
And believe me, I go online and I drag our US Congress representatives too. Like they don't get a pass. They know if they're
Yeah.
watching, they know they don't get a pass. Like and we've ratioed them to, like we were just saying the other day, like me and Brandy's favorite game is try to ratio the governor. Go in the comments and like see if we get, but it's not going to do any good. I'm not going to expend much energy there because the governor's already been endorsed by Trump. But so he'll just win, which sucks
Yeah.
because nobody, like, I mean, conservatives, he's not conservative. Like conservatives do not like Brad Little. So
Wow.
which is frustrating that there's no way to even compete with him. But so I mean, as time goes on, like I drag everybody. So just so you know, like so we're totally clear, like I have no special interests. I'm
Right.
only here to do transparency. I want you guys to see what's happening in Idaho for sure. I want you to
Yeah.
see what is going on. And the only time I come out and attack people is when they go after good legislators. So we have like on record amazing legislators in this state and they're being attacked and I come out and fight for them. I don't care if you personally attack me. You can personally attack me all you want. It doesn't matter to me. Like I'm just a
Right.
person. I'm like a no. I'm not affiliated with anything with GOP. Nothing. I have no affiliations.
Right.
But if you attack a good legislator, like we're gonna have words. I'm not gonna let. I'm not letting it fly. So like everyone's like, oh, I have all these PACs and lobbyists. Where should she get her marching orders? I'm like, you are the marching orders. Like you attacked a good legislator. I'm going to come for you. So like I'm taking heavy fire right now personally, and I'm like, whatever, I don't care. Like keep
Right.
fighting, keep lambasting me. It doesn't matter. But I mean, like the stuff I do is for the people. It's not for anyone else. And it's pretty embarrassing what we've noted. Like this year, we've seen groups like YAL, like Young Americans for Liberty. Like we've seen them do some nasty stuff. Like they destroyed one of our conservative runs. They lied about her and sent out rat cards, like patent lie about one of her voting records.
Wow.
We lost a conservative legislator in a moderate stronghold. She was like, she had her foot in the door and they killed it. And so like we go like what I'm noticing now is that if an organization exists to do something, right? Like if their end game is, pass these bills or this or that, and all those bills were to pass, there would be no need for that or for that lobbyist organization, right? Like
Right.
you wouldn't need it. So what they do is I see them now. I see it for what it is. Like they come in, we have seen them come into Idaho, push stuff that will never pass, no planet, even in conservative Idaho, would never get through, and then scream about its failure for fundraising. They need stuff to fail so that they can maintain a job.
Good
That's not
God.
what's best for our state. It's not what's best for our state. But even if those lobbyists, you think they have good intentions, go back and look. Man, they're fundraising off of failures of stuff that we knew was never going to pass. And
There
like it was
should
an outlandish request.
there should be no opportunity for anybody, any company, any individual, any outside special interest groups to profit off the backs of voters.
Yep.
I
It's
mean,
exactly.
and I also know that there's a dark side, really dark side of it too, because it all comes down to money and power.
Yep.
That's literally what it comes down to. And I think that geez, I need to get more involved with the rhino. And just for people listening that don't know what rhino is, I see people misspell it all the time. It's not the actual animal that you see in the zoo. It's RINO, which stands for Republican in name only. And listen, I think again, I've said this for several years that I don't think that I don't truly I don't believe that we have a Republican and a Democratic Party anymore. I think um, we have the deep state,
Yeah.
also known as special interest groups, and then we have America First. We have people that want to make our country better. And I know I don't know what kind of time you have left.
I'm good.
We're running over my normal time, but that's all right.
You want to keep
It's
going? I'll keep going.
this
I can
this
tell you
is this
anything.
this is very important. Talk about some of the illegals because I know you wanted to touch on that. Um, look at her light up. So there are a lot of I mean I'm gonna be honest. I live in North Texas
Oh, way more there. Yeah, you have a
and
lot.
yeah, but I've noticed. construction projects slowing down.
It's
I'm like,
happening.
wonder why. That's
Mhm.
weird.
Did you see the
Um,
LA traffic like disappear? That was crazy. That video
I
was
know.
crazy.
So talk a little bit about that. And it's a very touchy subject. Um, talk about
Not
that.
for
Talk
me. It
about
ain't touchy for me. That's my hill.
Okay,
That's my hill. It is
let's
not
talk
touchy.
about let's see what Tom Ginn has to say here real quick. He says the highest office in the U.S. is the sovereign citizen. My litmus test for politicians I support is not R or D, but whether they are constitutionalists. I think
Well,
that's
and that's great. The problem is, like in 22 in Idaho, we had a constitutional party. Actually, their president or their old president is a lobbyist now. Ooh, big shocker. They tried to split, like they were putting candidates in and they were splitting the conservative ticket because people were like, oh, I like the constitutionalist. But then, so in Idaho, we have a closed primary. So your
hmm
primary is your general because we're a red state.
right,
Everyone in red wins in the general, just
right,
for the
right,
most part, right?
right.
Our primaries are general. So like what happens is it's a closed primary. We get a lot of crossover voters. We had 32,000 Democrats cross over into red so that they could spike our primary election. Um, but we had like constitutional party like throwing candidates in the primary. Well, that would be in the general, but they were like splitting tickets. And so
Yeah.
we lost good, like we lost some seats because of them. So I mean, every year I'm just like, I see them. I see Constitutional Party like change to Republican. Last year, one of the girls, she changed to Republican and then split a ticket. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, we're trying to get a conservative and a moderate and let the people choose. And you throw a well, she said she was Republican, but Constitution Party person in and like totally destroyed the ticket. Like, so
I
it's
mean,
careful. You gotta be
it's
careful.
by design. It's
You gotta be
by
careful.
design. Yeah.
Right. Now, are they
Yeah.
leftists? Like they're working with the left, right? Like
Yeah.
you split the ticket. Like the only ticket split I saw in Idaho, and it required a bunch of heavy lifting, was we got a guy down south and he was the conservative. He wasn't the incumbent. So that he was running against the incumbent and then a Constitution Party person actually. And then he was the conservative and he beat both of them. It was the only time I've ever seen that nut cracked.
Talk about the talk about the illegals thing you want to
Okay, back to
discuss.
illegals. Obviously, I'm from a border patrol family. Like this is my hill. Like I will die on this hill. My family has been in cartel gunfights. My family has had their lives threatened. They have had to be emergency like transferred. I hear stories from my mom when she was little. I mean, just all of the things. So it's very like affects me. Like I'm very passionate about it. And sure, at some point, like, okay, they just wanted to come over and have a good life, whatever. But there's a process. And if you don't want to go, we give 1 million green cards out a year. 1 million. And if you want to go through the process to get one of those, like I know it's long and it's ardent, and obviously now it's horrible because there's a backlog, but like it's interesting because the Trump administration was like, we got to get all these illegals out that just came in with Biden in the last 4 years or whatever, like all these 20 million. I'm more pissed about the dude working on the farm who has done it for 20 years. Like that makes you had 20 years to figure it out. And we've been paying for, so people don't understand this either. So let's be very clear. Illegal immigration, they like illegals are doing an average, and DC Drano just put this out the other day. $20,000 a year is what corporations pay them. So there's slave labor, right? Without the slaves, who picks the cotton? So the corporations bring in slave labor, and I'm not for anything. Like this isn't just farming, this is anything. And they pay them nothing, peanuts, $20,000 a year. Do you
Wow.
know how that person survives? Do you know how that illegal survives? They survive off subsidies. They survive off our tax dollars. They've completely like your medical system is like your insurance. All of your stuff is so sky high
Yeah.
because you're covering for people who can't pay and that we have to pay for. Like we are subsidizing them in schools, in hospitals, everywhere, even the infrastructure, like everything that they don't pay taxes. Like they don't have a social security number. So you get under the table or whatever, but these dudes are making an average of 20,000 a year and say they're here for 20 years. How many hundreds of thousands of dollars have we subsidized that person? So we are
Yep.
subsidizing corporate slave labor, right? Like corporations love it because they bring them in, they pay them nothing, and the citizens get the bill. It's outrageous. It's destroying our country. Like we absolutely have, they all have to go. They all have to go. I don't have, like, I'm at the limit for it at this point. Like I'm very frustrated by this process. They got to go.
How do you feel though? I see these and I don't know why. I have no idea why this stuff shows up in my feed, but it does. Of these, the mainstream media, they love to paint it as they're being victimized, and
We're being victimized.
I know,
We're working, long hours week overtime.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, you give 40%
yep,
to the government. And that, how much of that is paying for that? They're not victims. Like they came here willingly and knowingly. And like at this point, like, sure, they may be good people, but they gotta go. Like, you gotta go. Like, you have ruined the labor market, right? Like, you have completely destroyed any subsidies. Like, we're all of our insurance rates are going up. I mean, it is just bad for the American people.
yep,
Like, they gotta go. Sorry, it's not racist. I don't care what country you came in from. Pack your bags. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't care if you're Dutch. If you're here illegally, get out of my country. Like, I'm done. However, I do with however,
wait,
I do
wait,
have,
wait. What? I mean, come on. What did the Dutch do to you,
you know what I
Lauren?
mean. But like, so back to this, so the South Africaners, I think that the South Africaners actually, first of all, are fleeing real persecution, not
Yeah,
just made up crap at the border to get you slapped with asylum,
right.
but real persecution. And they have a farming skill set. I think they're like the only immigrants our country should take, period. I think everybody else should go. I think we should bring them in. I think any farms that fail because they can't get off the illegal labor tit, like those dudes, they gotta like just give the freaking South Africaners their property. I don't care. Like if you can't function without illegal labor, you don't deserve to be here. And
Amen.
here's the other point about this too, that I've had talks with some people that higher up, but automation. So people don't understand this. The only way for America to be permanently competitive with economies like China is we've got to automate. We've got to start doing robots. We've got to do it, it's got to happen. We have to do that. And
Yep.
in order to do that, like in my brain, I'm like, okay, you're let's say you're a farm owner, you're a rancher. You own, you have a bunch of illegals on staff. Well, you've saved how much money? Because we have subsidized them for how many years? You've saved so much money with your illegal slave labor that you can take that money now and you can go automate. Go out and buy the robots, fix your farm up, get it moving, and now you're like, make us globally competitive, right? Like that needs to be the end game. It doesn't
Yep.
necessarily, like, it is nice to replace with Americans, and there's all kinds of programs coming out trying to get Americans like up to date on the jobs. Like same with H-1Bs. Like the Elon stuff drives me nuts. Like how many Indians did we bring in? Like hundreds of thousands of Indians. And like our highest unemployment rate, one of the highest like industries of unemployment is like computer science for Americans. It's
Yep.
like computer science and software and IT. I'm like, dude, it's because we imported 600,000 Indians. Like, why did we do that? Like, we could just send them home and put Americans into the job. So, anyway, sorry, I'm ranting.
I'm in a building here in North Texas that I have an office in, and there's I don't know 100 and some odd companies in here, and there's I mean I walk into the general kitchen waiting area at lunch, and guess what the aroma is in the kitchen?
Curry.
Yep,
Good
it
guess.
is. It is. I think I do think that I mean and I've hired Indians. I had an H-1B that I spent a lot of money. Here's the other thing that people don't realize, and I'll say it from an employer perspective. and I've been in tech for 30 years, so I know a little about this. First, I've employed a lot of people in India, but I had one guy that I hired on staff, and I thought, oh, he's Indian, I'll be able to not have to pay as much as I would an American. Not true. Not
Doesn't he
true.
have like a contract company that you have to go through and you pay them and they take a cut?
Well, it's the H-1B. Like you if you have an H-1B where because you have to sponsor that person as the business owner, or what the company has to sponsor that H-1B, and they have a schedule. So the federal government does. The US government has a schedule saying that, if it's computer science or whatever it is, they have to make this minimum wage, which was like 70 or $75,000 a year minimum for this level, and this was many years
Interesting.
ago.
Okay.
It's pretty intense, and I don't think a lot of Americans realize that. It's not like, oh my god, I just hired a guy from India, so I only have to pay him $13 an hour. That's
But I
not the
wonder
way.
who's taking all the cut because you know that Indian's not getting 75 grand.
Oh, well, working for me, he did. He did.
Well, I mean,
But
I'm just wondering if he had like recruiter. So, like, I've heard stories about there's like recruiter farms
there
and
probably there
find the
probably
jobs.
are.
He has to
Yeah.
give a cut of his check to the recruiter farm back in India. Like, I've heard all kinds of stories. I don't know.
That may be the case. I didn't know about anything like that, but he came from a huge Cardinal Health. I mean, a humongous company, and I transferred his H-1B over to me, which was a lot of money to do, thousands and thousands of dollars. But again, it didn't work out for very long because I think he was also moonlighting, so he'd fall asleep at his desk.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I'm paying you more than anybody else here. Like, you got to stay awake. And anyway, no, I think that, again, I think the predecessor of all wisdom is pain. And we got to get to a point, and I don't want to see this country do what other countries do at about 250 years old, and that's collapse. And we've got to get to a point though where people start working, and the opportunities, I think, are starting to open back up. I do think they're starting to. We're not there yet. Definitely not there yet. And I agree with everything you said about we need to clean up the streets. Like, they got to go.
Gotta go. Like, I mean,
They've got to
all of
go.
it. There are
Yeah.
no carve outs. There are no exceptions. No more new visa programs. Like, we
Yeah.
have to reset, and that might even require a 20-year moratorium on all
Yeah.
immigration. We have to reset.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, you're already seeing, even with the threat of ICE, right? People are self deporting, and it's great. And that more of that, please, because
Yeah.
I mean, the more of that, the less harm agents potentially, are
Yeah.
into, which is great. So like, please keep self-deporting. But like, you see alone, so the state of Idaho has 62,000 illegals. And our
Wow.
dairy lobbyist, by the way, back to lobbyists, said 70%. He said outright 70% of his workforce is illegals.
Oh my God.
He said that twice in committee. I'm like, did he just literally confirm breaking the law? We have a legislator who owns a farm, right? She does potatoes, right? Potatoes processing and stuff. And ICE came to her farm and apprehended a guy who had been previously arrested in her county illegal for like drugs and choking his wife out. A
What?
legislator. She's still in the legislature. Like, you illegally hired, and I say criminal, I hate going criminally legal. Because it was like extra crimes, but they're all criminal, like all
Right.
crime. They're all
I,
criminal.
I I know. And you
So,
got Karen Bass down in LA, just, oh my God.
trying to protect these people and like Antifa, like throwing mortars and stuff. Our state is, dear Trump, if you are listening, the state of Idaho has 62,000 illegals. It's not a lot in retrospect, please come to my state and remove every single one of them and make us like your flagship state. Like, hey, look, I'm going state to state now.
We
Please come do it. We want them all to go. We just like, we want our traffic to clear up. We want, housing. We're tired of watching the concrete jungle go up. I mean, the housing is,
yeah,
we have locals here that can't afford in the neighborhoods that they grew up in because the housing is so expensive. And a lot of it was like, even under COVID, freaking BlackRock came in and would buy up houses and then like turn around and subsidize from the government, by the
yep,
way, so your tax dollars, they'd pay them to put illegals in those houses. So they're like, the housing market's going up. These dudes are getting a check from the government, so BlackRock don't care. And illegals are living in these houses, not you, not your family. Your family
right,
is still stuck in an apartment. Like, you're paying for them to live there. Like,
yeah.
people, we gotta fix it. Like, it's the housing market for sure is totally a mess up here. Like, we gotta fix it. And this is, I think, deportation will solve it's going to solve like medical insurance costs and wait room times. It's going to solve like your children. We found out this year that we in Idaho are paying for children to have translators in different languages in the school. So they're not even teaching them English. They're paying for a translator that like stops up the class. Like, I talked to someone who said there's 26 languages in one school. You have 26. So we are subsidizing a translator for 26 different languages, and they are stopping a class, completely ruining the education vibe for the
Wow.
citizens, right? And they're translating like to students. Those kids are learning nothing. Nobody in that class is learning anything. Like, it has totally ruined your child's education and you're
Wow.
paying for it. Like, this is happening. Like, so they came out and they were like, what was it? That guy yesterday came out and was screaming about, oh, we're remove the DOE illegal stipend, right? DOE, Department of Education, came out and said we're not paying for illegals yesterday. And the guy was like, how are they going to learn English? I'm like, dude, that's the whole, they're not even learning English. They're paying for translators. Like, we absolutely needed to remove that money from DOE. So it's in every industry. I mean, it's just, they got to go. Like, they got to go.
Even if they're Dutch, we've
Yeah.
decided.
No, I get, you know what I
I'm
mean? I'm
just,
like, it doesn't matter to me what color
I
you are.
know, I'm just
Don't
playing.
care. If you work here illegally, if we are subsidizing you in any facet of
Yeah.
this, like, sorry, we have homeless veterans. Like, you gotta go. Like,
I
we got
mean,
other
that
people to take care of.
that is Steve and I kind of started to touch on that yesterday, but
Yeah,
that's a
no,
serious problem,
it is
It's
a
like,
serious
come on,
problem.
man. Like, let's start taking care of our legal US citizens, especially those who Tom
Irish,
Yen Tom Yen thinks the Irish get to stay.
are they
No,
illegal?
yeah. No, if they're illegal, they're the first ones that need to go. I'm just
Too many
kidding.
bar fights. Too many bar.
That's right. But I think, I think we need to really, and I love that Trump is real. I do believe that they're focused on, I mean, there's so many freaking, people are so ticked off about different things that are not happening and they think aren't happening. There's so many layers, they have no idea. Like,
Well, I think all of it's just white noise. Like, the
yes,
only thing that matters is the immigration. It's literally
yes,
illegal immigration. That is the only thing in this. Like, Epstein list, sure, pissed off, don't care. Legal immigration, like all the things that they're going. I mean, yeah, I don't want pedophiles running the government, sure, but like, can we have a conversation? Like, if we do not eject every illegal from this country, we will not have a sovereign nation. They have to go. They have to not be counted in the census. So back to politics. Right now,
yep,
they're counted in the census. Do you
that's
understand
crazy.
that there are 12 plus congressmen that exist in our country exclusively because of illegal immigration
That
population?
is
So they're
unbelievable.
all Democrats. So you have 12 plus Democrats in Congress right now because of the illegal immigration population. We have
Because they were counted in a
to
in a
use census.
census count that
Yep.
that redistrict and open up those seats.
So if you don't remove them from the census, like you're not going to be able to vote your way out of it anyway. Like they'll
Right.
just continue to accumulate more congressmen, and
Yep.
you can't vote, right? Like when we're 25 plus Congress Democrats, no matter what, all the time, like we're done, we're cooked. Like you can't. Doesn't matter how hard you vote or how much you try to flip it. Like we're cooked. We're going to be Democrat forever.
Yeah. Well, Lauren, we could honestly talk all day
Sorry, I know
about
I'm like,
this. No, God, no. This has been phenomenal, and but at some point we got to find a stopping point for the show, and I think we're approaching that. I think we have a lot of work to do, and I hate to see the level of apathy that people reach because they don't know what to do. They watch too much CNN. They don't really pay attention to what's going on, and what you're doing, what Leo is doing, Steve is doing, the Rhino Removal Project. I mean, what you guys have a huge. I mean, it's a huge thing that you're doing with this. It's
my
all
hope is
about.
that I just make all the videos, everyone becomes experts, and then I could walk away. Like my
Yeah,
job exists to eventually die. Like all of you
yeah,
need to become those people, and then I don't even have to be there anymore.
right. Well, I think it's important that we get people educated. They need to know that this government, the United States, is not being ran by Congress. It's not.
Nope.
It's being ran by lobbyists, special interest groups,
Yep.
and I'm not saying that all of them are bad. Although yesterday Steve said, "I say we take every last one of them, remove them, replace all of them." I don't know that that's a terribly bad idea. There's a lot of BS, a lot of
It would be nice
BS.
to see a reset, but I mean, I don't want to start. Don't even. I don't want to start talking about convention of states. Like I don't support that either, and that
Yeah.
seems like the only way we could have reset. But I don't know what to do. I was hoping the tornado would do the trick the other day, but apparently it didn't. Just kidding. Just
well,
kidding. I'm just kidding. I
yeah.
don't really mean that.
Well, at the end of the day, there is God, and you know, hopefully God has our back. So
I think
I
so.
think,
I
yeah,
think
I
so.
do. Yeah, I do too.
Man, Trump surviving that shot.
That
There's
the
no way
odds,
God doesn't ever. Like God totally has our back for
I
sure.
totally agree with that. So we have 3,179.86 people watching. It
Cool.
just jumped. Or have been watching, or I don't know how many are actually on, but um what are some what's your I'm going to give you full screen, and I want you to give one last final word to everybody watching. If you could wave a magic wand over the brains of everybody in America, what would be the final thing that you would want to say to break through to them?
Illegals are the only thing in this nation that matters right now. It is the only thing. Lobbyists are the devil. And please go to Rhino Removal Project and give me your state. I will make you a video. You can do what I do. It's not rocket science.
There you have it. Go to rhinoremovalproject.org. I've had it scrolling across the bottom of the screen for quite a while now. So go to rhinoremovalproject.org. Get in touch with Lauren, Leo, whoever there, and get involved in your state and help help these folks because we need it.
Yep.
We definitely need it. Lauren, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on, spending so much time with me. If you would hang on, I'm going to end the live stream, but you and I can chat for a minute afterwards.
Sure.
And thank you all for everyone who shared this out and has been
Thanks.
watching. Thank you so much. God bless you all, and we will see you all later. Thank you, Lauren.